welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History. I'm Claire Ridgway and I'm author of On This Day in Tudor History, as well as a few other Tudor history books. Now, I'm actually taking you back today to the reign of King James I, which was, of course, in the Stuart period. But on this day in history, the 29th, or some sources say the 30th of December 1605, Elizabethan navigator and explorer John Davis, or John Davis with a Y, D-A-V-Y-S, died near Bintang off the coast of Borneo. Now, Davis's ship, the Tiger, was attacked by Japanese pirates who killed Davis in hand-to-hand combat. And Davis was about 55 when he died. So let me tell you a bit about this man and also his last day. John Davis was born in around 1550, we don't know his precise birth date, in Sandridge near Dartmouth in Devon. He was one of the main Elizabethan navigators and explorers, and the Davis Strait in the Northwest Passage is named after him. He's also known for being the first Englishman to document a sighting of the Falkland Islands. He also wrote the 1594 The Seaman's Secrets and the 1595 The World's Hydrographical Description. Now, you can read more about Davis's voyages in the Voyages and Works of John Davis the Navigator, which was edited in the 19th century by Albert Hastings Markham. And I'll give you a link to read that because it really does make interesting reading. It includes accounts of his voyages, including the last one, as well as letters and the works by Davis that I've just mentioned. But let me tell you a little bit more about his final voyage and his death. The Tiger, piloted by Davis and commanded by Sir Edward Michelborne, set off from Cowes, a port on the Isle of Wight, on the 5th of December 1604. It landed at Bantam or Banten in Java in October 1605, and then set sail bound for Passani on the 2nd of November. However, the ship never reached there. According to a contemporary account of the voyage, on the 27th of December 1605, the crew of the Tiger encountered a Japanese junk while they were anchored at the port of Bintang in the Straits of Malacca. The crew of this junk had been pirating along the coasts of China and Cambodia, but had lost their pilot and they'd been shipwrecked. The English and Japanese crews got on well initially, with the contemporary writer saying that the crew of the Tiger, the English crew, spent 2 days entertaining them with good usage, not taking anything from them. And also he says that gifts and feastings were exchanged between the two crews. However, he goes on to say that these rogues, being desperate in winds and fortune, being hopeless in that paltry junk ever to return to their own country, resolved with themselves either to gain my ship or to lose their lives. The writer explains that a party led by Davis was sent to search the junk, and that Davis, who was beguiled with their humble semblance, refused to take any weapons with him. Big mistake. The writer gives an account of Davis's last moments. They passed all the day, my men searching in the rice, and they looking on. At the sun setting, after long search, and nothing found save a little Storax and Benjamin, they, seeing opportunity, and talking to the rest of their company, which were in my ship, being near to their junk, they resolved, at a watchword between them, to set upon us resolutely in both ships. This being concluded, they suddenly killed and drave overboard all my men that were in their ship, and those which were aboard my ship sailed out of my cabin, where they were put with such weapons as they had, finding certain targets in my cabin and other things that they used as weapons. Myself, being aloft on the deck, knowing what was likely to follow, leapt into the waist, where with the boatswain's carpenter and some few more, we kept them under the half deck. At their first coming forth of the cabin, they met Captain Davis coming out of the gun room, whom they pulled into the cabin, and giving him 6 or 7 mortal wounds, they thrust him out of the cabin before them. His wounds were so mortal that he died as soon as he came into the waist. The writer explains that the English crew used pikes to try and defend themselves, but that they finally drove them off, leaving just one alive by firing cannons at them through the bulkhead. In his will, Davis left his worldly goods to his sons Gilbert, Arthur and Philip, and Judith Havard, his espoused love, and the woman he intended to marry on his return to England. How sad that he never had chance to do that. By the way, John Davis also invented the Davis quadrant, or the backstaff, which he describes in The Seaman's Secrets. It was a navigational instrument that was used to measure the altitude of the sun or moon. The Nautical Instruments website explains that it was the successor of the crossstaff and the predecessor of the octant. And the National Maritime Museum's description of a Davis quadrant made in the 18th century describes it as follows. The backstaff is made from a hornbeam frame with boxwood arcs. The staff has an inlaid ivory plate on the main strut and rivets capped by decorative ivory triangles. There are no vanes. Small decorative stamps, including flowers and fleur-de-lis, are stamped at the ends of both arcs. The transversal seal on the 30-degree arc is from 0 to 25 degrees by 5 arc minutes and reads to 0.5 arc minutes. The graduation on the 60-degree arc is from 0 to 65 degrees by 1 degree. And I'll give you a link to read more about these navigational instruments, that the Davis quadrant that was invented by Davis. So there you go, a sad tale of a man who didn't go armed onto this Japanese junk because he believed these people to be good people that they'd built a good relationship with, and ended up being, awfully murdered on board. Thank you for joining me today. I'll be back tomorrow with another Tudor history event for you. So I'll see you then. You can subscribe by clicking round about there, just where my cup of tea is. And you can hit the bell to be notified as these videos go live as well. And leave a comment and give me a like if you've enjoyed this. See you then. Bye-bye.